Welcome to the Pivot Experience podcast, where leadership transformation isn't just a concept, it's a journey we take together. This is where real leaders share real stories about the moments that changed everything. In each episode, we dive deep into the pivotal experiences that transformed good leaders into great ones. Whether you're a seasoned executive, a rising star in your organization, or someone ready to take that next big step in your leadership journey, you're in the right place. Get ready to learn, grow, and maybe even find that spark that ignites your own leadership pivot. This is the Pivot Experience podcast, where your next breakthrough starts here.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your friend, Pastor John R. Adolph from the Antioch Church in Beaumont, Texas. Hey, listen, do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe this channel so you can continue to pivot into your next.
What's up and what's happening, TPE family? We're back with another episode of the Pivot Experience podcast, where our aim and goal is to help leaders pivot into their next. My name is Alex Seal, and I've had the joy and pleasure for working for one of the world's most caring companies for the last 23 years. And my journey has brought me to this point in which I would like to connect and share stories and experiences of other leaders who are in the space and who have experiences that I think that you guys will find of value. And today's episode is no different. We have a very special guest here. I'm actually pretty honored to have someone, from what I understand, who has Disney DNA. Working for Chick-fil-A, we're all about hospitality. We're all about service. And when you think about Chick-fil-A and when you think about Disney, those are companies that are at the pinnacle of hospitality. And so I have a gentleman by the name of Vance Morris on the line with us today. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be here, and I'm sure you guys want to get your notes out, want to get whatever you use, pen and paper, phone, get something out to because I'm sure there's going to be several nuggets of wisdom shared today from Vance and his experiences, and he has a pretty interesting business that he's up to now. But I'm not going to go too far into it. I'm going to let him give some background on himself and just what his journey has been so far as a leader in the space. Go for it, Vance.
Oh man, yeah, that's a loaded question. When you get close to 60, there's a lot of stuff that happens between 18 and 60. But I appreciate it. Thank you again for inviting me on. I appreciate it. So I'll start with just getting out of college. I was lucky enough to have my first job actually be with the Walt Disney Company down in Orlando. It was the foundation for everything I did moving forward. And usually, people always ask, well, what was the best thing you learned there? What was the most amazing thing? And people expect to hear, it was the guest experience, or, how did you wow people all the time? Or, you always kept the place so clean. And those things are important, but it was how we did those things that really set them apart. And it was that Disney runs on systems. Disney runs on processes. And without them, they would never be able to keep the place clean. They would never be able to wow their guests. They would never be able to create those experiences, because without systems, everything falls apart. You mentioned Chick-fil-A. I mean, Chick-fil-A, they are amazing. I don't know if you caught today's Wall Street Journal, but Chick-fil-A was in there again, front page. And they were talking about how they had a drone over top of this Chick-fil-A watching the 2 lanes through the drive-through, and they were saying, each car took like 7.2 seconds to get through the drive-through, which any fast food place would love that. And they were doing a debrief afterwards with, some of the corporate guys, and they're trying to figure out, how do we shave 1 second off? How do we shave 1 second off? And that's that attention that Disney has. Chick-fil-A, we're down to seconds on how to do stuff so that we can improve the customer experience. And that's that's what we're looking at. It's those fine details. So I spent a decade with Disney, primarily in their resorts. My last job was food and beverage manager at the Contemporary. Got a chance to be on the design team for a restaurant called Chef Mickey's. which today is doing about $78 million a year in sales. One restaurant. Kind of give you an idea how big it is. I did leave Disney. People do leave. Just kind of got tired of being somewhere for 10 years. I figured there's got to be more to life than just Disney. So I was a consultant for a restaurant group called Legal Seafoods. They're based out of Boston. They moved me down to, I was up there for a number of years, moved me down to Baltimore to try and help save one of their restaurants down here. And I worked for a retirement community. So I had 3,500 residents. It's a lot of old people. Nothing against them. It's just a lot of them. And I also had 350 14 to 17-year-olds working for me, which was absolutely amazing. And they worked hard. They were great. And the reason we had them was, well, we only had dinner. That was the only meal period we served. So we were open from 4 until 6. That was it. I mean, because, all the residents, they were done. 6 o'clock, they were done. They were going to watch Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, whatever it was. And so we really didn't have a lot of hours to offer. And the teenagers, well, they're only allowed to work 3 hours a day. So it was a perfect match. Through all this, though, I started to get this feeling that I make a lousy employee because I don't like to be told what to do. And that's not a good mix when you have a boss and you're employed. So I kind of sort of got fired from that job, which is okay. I admit to it now. I live up to it. And my next job was with the Smithsonian Museum System in DC. I was director of catering and food service there. So, massive job, a lot of fun, massive job. But then I had a vice president ask me my opinion on something. And of course, I, without a filter, told him that was the end of that career. So I decided, no more bosses. I'm done. And I started my own business, which I'm sure you dreamed of opening one of these. I know I dreamed of opening one of these when I was a small child, but I started a carpet cleaning business. Because that's what we all dream of doing. Heck with rockets and spacemen, carpet cleaning. But I took all of my Disney stuff, all right, all of my experience, knowledge, pricing, marketing, and I put it into a carpet cleaning business. And I really grew it. It was geared towards an affluent market. So I wasn't trying to go for, rental. We didn't clean rentals. Because we live near a resort town, and so there's just like 150,000 condo units on the beach, and we just didn't want to clean those because they're disgusting. So we cleaned homes, and we started to get a good reputation that we cleaned affluent homes. Continued to grow that. We added Oriental rug washing to it. We added a mold remediation company to it. Really started to grow, and all through it, we're putting in systems, putting in processes so that we were automating this because I knew I didn't want to do this the rest of my life. And along the way, people started asking me, how do you do all this? You don't look like you're working very hard. How are you doing this? So I started coaching and consulting. And I'm showing businesses how I did it. So fast forward to today. I've got a general manager who's running those home service businesses that I have here in Maryland. So I kind of just cash checks and kiss babies. But that's what business owner, you get to a certain point, and that's kind of what you want to grow up to be is you have a business, it's kicking off money, you still got your finger on it. I probably spend about 90 minutes a week on that business, but it gives me those systems and processes, give me the freedom to do what I want to do. So systems and processes equals freedom. I don't want anybody to miss that. And so I've got a coaching group now, group coaching, where we talk about customer experience. We talk about marketing. We talk mostly about customer retention. Once you get a customer, now what do you do with them? How do you keep them within your world? Run a mastermind group, and one of the fun things I get to do is I take business groups down to Disney and we do 3 and 4 day full immersion boot camps down there. So kind of see how Disney makes the sausage. That's the story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, awesome, man. So you are well versed and seasoned in so many different areas, in different sectors of business, and it's just amazing for you to continue to have the resilience to keep going. From not saying from place to place. I mean, everybody goes from job to job, but there was some level of intention. You seem like you always picked up something and you brought it along with you to the next destination until you got to this point of into where you say, you know what, I'm ready to be an entrepreneur. I'm ready to be my own man. Let's do this thing. And so, my first question for you would be: during your decade of Disney, you've already mentioned that you took all the things that you learned from Disney and poured it into your current business. So, what was like the an experience from Disney that was the most profound that you think that you have definitely have implemented in your business currently?
Well, I mentioned the systems and the processes, and I was lucky enough. I was on the opening team of the Yacht and Beach Club Resorts, which was back in like 1990, 91, during the first Gulf War. And I remember walking in the first day, and this was before computers. Well, I mean, there were computers, but not like everybody. There were definitely no handheld phones or any of that stuff. And there were just binders everywhere. We walked into this convention room, and it just stacks and stacks of binders as far as you could see. And I asked my boss, I'm like, what is all this? And he goes, well, this is how we run a resort. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, each one of those binders is for a different job within the resort, and it shows what that job does, how they do it, and more importantly, why we do it that way. So Disney runs on 3 words, and this is what I've certainly taken through all of my career is you've got to keep the systems simple, because if they're not simple, they're going to fall apart. And you think about Disney, who's working at Disney, especially like on the rides, right? They're teenagers. They've got everything except work on their mind, right? They're thinking about the keg party they're going to tonight. They're thinking about their girlfriend. They are not thinking about the roller coaster that they're operating. So if the system was difficult, things would be falling apart. So it's a simple system. I mean, Chick-fil-A, same thing. McDonald's. I mean, their systems are simple so that any minimum wage employee can operate this thing. And the chicken sandwich in Boise is going to taste like the chicken sandwich in Trenton, New Jersey, and there's no difference in them. That's the power of the system. And, I know I keep harping on that, but it really is. And, when I say system gives you freedom, a lot of people say, well, I'd like to be, have a little bit of latitude and be able to do, different things for my guests. And yes, you can. So the system, you follow the system, it actually becomes just like your everyday motion. It becomes rote. Now you can add your personality to it. You can add the little flourishes. You can add the little wow moments, because the system, it's just like second nature to you. You don't have to think about it. So that's when those kinds of companies get a chance to bring in those little wow moments. The Chick-fil-A's, the please, the thank you, the my pleasures just automatically come out. So that was really the big thing from Disney. I wish I had something really sexy, to say. I could tell you a story. I was manager of Pleasure Island. I don't know if you ever went there. It was Disney's. They had 7 nightclubs on a 5-acre island. It's gone now. But I could tell you about the night Bobby Brown bit the ear off of a guy in a fight, or the night Woody Harrelson tried to buy a cocktail waitress, but I don't think that's kind of the gist of your show.
Not at all. Wildly intriguing, though. Extra wow. And to say you were there for some of those events, some of the stuff that you probably never heard of before, and hopefully, I guess, so hopefully my audience knows who those individuals are. I would think they would know who those individuals are, but no, that's maybe we can talk off mic about that. But
We can certainly do that.
No, so you bring up systems, man, and you have an approach in your consulting business, the systematic magic approach, and it's really intriguing to me. Could you break down how a typical business can transform mundane customer interactions into memorable experiences using your system?
Yeah, sure. And so, first and foremost, when I'm talking about wows and talking about creating these experiences, we're not talking about expensive things. So, like I've got a what I call a hot sheet that people can download. It's called 52 Ways to Wow Without Breaking the Bank. So you don't have to build a castle or a roller coaster to wow people. Answering the telephone live actually is a wow these days. So many people, it goes to voicemail, it goes to those voice tree, push 6 for that, 3 for this. Just answering the phone live is actually a wow moment these days. And then figuring out how to answer the telephone. So I worked with a group of insurance companies a number of years ago, and it was a all-state convention, and there was like, I don't know, it's 8 or 9 all states in this city. And this one guy was like, "Look, I got to separate myself from these guys. I can't be seen to be the same sea of sameness of all state agents, and I also have to rise above all the other insurance agents that are in our city." So I talked to him a little bit, and I was in his office, and I'm looking around. I'm like, "Dude, you like rock and roll, don't you?" And because he had like autographed guitars, posters of rock and roll, people, gold records on the wall. I'm like, "This is pretty cool. I think we could do something with this." And so we got his team together. We did a little talking, and we said, why don't we? He said, we have a lot of problems with, people just kind of being tire kickers. They call and they ask us a lot of questions, and then we never see them. So I said, well, why don't we use answering the telephone as a way to sift, sort, and screen out all these tire kickers? And so the team came up with the way to answer the phone. So if you called up an insurance agency, you'd probably get something along the lines of, "Thank you for calling Dave's Insurance. How can I help you?" I mean, we've all heard the phone answer that way. Well, this guy, his team, came up with this way to answer the phone. "Thank you for calling Dave's Allstate, the agency that rocks." Now, that's a wow. You're not expecting it. Yes, it's a little corny, but after you say it 75 times, it just becomes part of the day. And answering the phone that way does a couple of things. One, it's a wow moment. Two, if you remember, your marketing is designed to do two things. It's designed to attract the people you want to do business with and repel people you don't want to do business with. So just by answering the phone that way, like I said, you sift, sort, and screen out people who would otherwise make a bad customer for you. So that's a simple, easy way to create an experience. Another quick one is, let's say, my carpet cleaning business. And one of the boring, mundane things we have to do is get into the house. So we created an experience about getting into the home. So it starts actually out in the street. Our vans, we park them in the street. We don't park in the driveway because, God forbid, I got an oil leak and now I got something else I got to clean up. Guy gets out of his van. He's in a clean, crisp uniform because he carries extra uniforms with him in case he gets dirty on the job beforehand. Carries a special mat, a little gift in his tool bag, and he goes up to the front door, lays down his special mat, and he knocks on the door because friends knock, salespeople ring the bell. Takes a couple steps back, and Mrs. McGillicuddy opens the door, and my tech says, "Hi, my name's Josh. I'm here to create your healthy home. May I come in?" Mrs. McGillicuddy opens the door. Josh then does an exaggeration of wiping his feet on the special mat. And then he puts little booty covers on his clean shoes, and he comes in the front door. And then he presents Mrs. McGillicuddy with a gift. Now, the gift is nothing extravagant. It's a little blue box with a bag of cookies, a bottle of spot remover, and a little note from me saying, "Thank you for allowing us into your home. If you have any questions, here's my personal cell phone number." That is a wow moment. Now, when was the last time you had like a plumber, a carpet cleaner, or, some home service guy come to your house and bring you a gift? Has anybody ever done that for you?
No,
Probably not.
sir.
And I'm talking like a chip clip. I mean, I'm talking like something nice. So the reason we do that is, one, we want to set ourselves apart. Two, we know nobody else is doing it. But three is we want to make more money. So by giving the gift, we start a process called reciprocity. If I give something to you, you feel compelled to give something back to me. So when we started giving the gift, which costs us it's under $5 for this gift, we saw a 26% increase in our mid-tier package, or about $65,000 additional sales every year. So that was like a $5 wow cost. And we saw the additional sales. What I tell people, I tell my clients, my prospects, I'll tell anybody who listens to me, is that you want people to walk away from a service with your business or time with your business, and you want them going home and saying, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened at. So think about this. Last time you got your oil changed, did you go home, sit down at the dinner table with the family and say, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened at the oil change? I'm guessing that conversation did not happen.
No, sir.
But if my cleaning guys had come over to your house and we did that whole show out on the front porch and we gave you a gift and then we did all the other things that we do in your home, 9 times out of 10, you're going to sit down at the dinner table and you say, holy cow, you will never guess what these carpet cleaners did when they came to the house. You want your business to be tellable. And just by taking the time to script this out, look at little ways to do this. Now, this all sounds good too. I didn't think of this overnight. I mean, this is like a year, 2 years worth of tweaking and adding and iteration after iteration. So, it sounds like, oh, Vance, you do this big thing. That's great. No, I mean, it didn't start out that way. So it's just little tweaks and additions. So it doesn't have to be big, expensive wows when we do that.
Well, I want to pause right quick. For those of you guys who are listening, Vance has given us a masterclass in looking at your business. And I was not necessarily say every nook and cranny, but to every phase in which you make direct customer contact and how you think over how to make an experience with that. There was a book I was got mentioned to me at one point in time, and it was based on Disney, called The Experience Economy, and it talks about just how detailed Disney goes into every little piece of the experience. Me and my family went to Great Wolf Lodge here recently. I'm not sure if you have one in your area, but I was blown away by just every little piece of the experience. And like, even more so, what's amazing to hear for you is that the industry that you're doing this in is not common for that industry. You mentioned, carpet cleaners. I'm sure 9 out of 10, probably 10 out of 10 carpet cleaners would not go to that extent to provide that service. And you're absolutely correct. When people walk away from that experience, I always tell our guys, at work, the most powerful marketing tool that you can ever use is word of mouth, right? That's the most, if someone is giving you praise about the experience that they've gotten, unprompted, just, you didn't necessarily give them a coupon or a discount. You just increased the value that they were receiving for the amount, for what they paid for. And I just, if you can get your people to consistently do that every time and deliver that every time, that is amazing. So for those of you who are listening and you're thinking about your organization and you're looking at your organization, and we're going to continue for Advance, but think about when a customer enters your business or you come to them, what does that look like? That is a massive first impression. If you're coming to clean the carpet and you've got your rug out, I'm listening like, wow, you've really thought. Now, again, I appreciate you saying this was years of thoughts, and observations that you've taken into account. But man, that's just amazing. And I can tell why you have a successful business. So the next question I have for you kind of maybe speaks to this in terms of your consulting. What are some of the most common resistance that you see in other organizations or other ordinary businesses in trying to implement this level of service? And then how do you help those business owners overcome that?
Sure, that's a great question. And most people think that they can't afford to do it. And and they think they can't raise their prices. And once you start implementing some of these, and I encourage people to implement the no cost wows because it doesn't cost you anything. And once you have a few of those under your belt, then you have what I call price elasticity. You can start to stretch your prices. You can start to raise your prices because you're now getting known for not just whatever service you have or product you sell, but you're getting known for the experience you provide. Now, I mean, again, think about Disney. Is Disney, give you a quick example. So, say you go to your local county fair, right? It's that rickety old, fair that kind of shows up, and they got a bunch of ex-cons or current cons that are running the rides, and half the fun is, whether you're going to survive the ride or not. And it costs you it's like $20, all you can ride, all night long. And then there's the next tier up is like, I don't know, like Six Flags or Great Adventure or one of those. It's like $65. It's thrill rides, a lot safer, probably normal people without criminal histories running the place. The food is probably not going to kill you either. But there's really no theme to it. There's really no experience except for the thrill rides. And then you get to Disney, right? And it's $180 to go to Disney for the day. Now, is Disney 9 times better than your county fair? Is it 9x better? I would suggest maybe not. I mean, if you stripped away the dolls and the music from It's a Small World, I would tell you that's a really boring ride. I mean, you sit in a little canoe and you dribble around the lake and you're done. I mean, it's not exciting. Is Disney nine times more valuable? Do I clean carpet 9 times better than my competitors? Well, I'd like to think I did, but I'm got to be reasonable with myself. Probably not. Now, do I provide an experience that is 9 times better? 100%. And when you do that, you don't have to, they don't have to be tangible things. Like some of the things that I offer in all of my businesses are money back guarantees. Money back guarantees don't cost you anything until somebody redeems it. Now, if you're smart, you're doing everything possible to not have people redeem it. So you're already doing a good job. And on the off chance that somebody does redeem it, well, okay, we screwed up. And it's not really costing you the entire amount of the job. It's just costing you your cost. So it's really not even a big deal. Having insurance policies for your customers. We have what we call the whoopsie insurance. And it's like none of my competitors all know what I'm doing. That's the crazy thing. And they don't implement it because they seem to think that it's going to cost them money. So I have a 14-day whoopsie insurance. If between today and in 14 days, something catastrophic happens, like your clumsy husband knocks over a glass of chocolate milk, the dog throws up, whatever, if you can't get the spot out with our spot remover, give us a call. We'll come back out and we'll clean that spot free of charge. Free of charge. You know how many people have taken me up on that in the last 17 years I've owned the business? I can count on less than 2 hands the number of times we've gone out. You know how much mileage and how much value that warranty gets me? And how much more price elasticity having that warranty gets me? It costs me nothing. If I have to actually go and do it, it really doesn't cost me much because we're literally just going out and cleaning one spot. But the value to the customer allows me to charge a higher price because they see that value. So I don't even remember what the question was, but anyway, there we go. I mean, you get to stretch your pricing quite a bit. And that's the pushback, is I can't raise my prices. And it's all in the owner's head. It's head trash. It really, truly is. I guarantee you, if you went out today, raised your prices 10%, nobody would notice because I've done it before. I just, woke up one morning. Somebody challenged me. One of my mentors challenged me. He goes, Vance, tomorrow, go and raise your prices 10% across the board. I guarantee you nobody will push back. I guarantee you nobody will notice. Dang if he wasn't right. So
No, man, no, that's incredible, man. You're giving again a lot of great information for those who are out there who are scared to raise their prices, who are scared to implement value added items. I remember several years ago, our former CEO Dan Cathy at Chick-fil-A was talking about second mile service, and instead of really talking about, instead of discounting the product to try to attract business, increase the value that you present to your customer, and they will then want to do more business with you at the price that you're asking for. And so I hear that exactly the exact same thing that you're saying as it relates to what you do in your business, and you've accounted the cost, right? What's
yep.
$5 for a 27% bump in sales per transaction? That's a nominal cost to be able to extract that level of increase. And I think some of the resistance is just business owners not having that entrepreneurial spirit that says, I'm going to make that investment. I'm going to make a play that's going to I know that's going to yield the results. You may not have the right play the first time, but if you keep tinkering with it, keep being curious, keep listening to podcasts like this, anyway, and get the information that's out there available to you, I definitely think that you can be well on your way. So that was an awesome response to that question. Even though you forgot, I still think it was a great
Yeah,
response
I go off in
nonetheless.
all directions.
No,
So
I love it. I love it. I do that a bit myself. For those who know me, I can kind of, it's like Charlotte's Web a little bit. Anyway, in your experience, what's the crucial role of leadership in creating and maintaining a culture of exceptional service?
well, you gotta walk the talk, no doubt. Every job I have ever been in, whether it is my business or a business I was working in, there is nothing I won't do that I expect my employees to do. Any restaurant business I had no problem going into the dish room. Actually, I loved going into the dish room because nobody bothered me in there. I just rolled up my sleeves, put an apron on, and bring it all in. I loved it, and everybody knew where to find me. Oh, and the Vance is in the dish room. Even when I was a GM, I was like, Vance is in the dish room, just leave him alone. But that, and and it's just, it brings a certain level of peace to the entire operation when you see somebody in a leadership position doing, not just for show, like, I mean, the manager that, like, all right, he'll go over to the dish room and he tucks his tie into the shirt, and he'll rack a thing of glasses, and then he's off. Okay, he just did that for show. I'm talking about roll up the sleeves, get in there for a good 45 minutes, and just have some, get in there. I do, and I've carried that through my days. I think setting the bar at a certain level, and then challenging the employees to exceed that bar. The other thing is getting the employees, whether you call them team members, whether you call them employees, whatever you call them, is getting them involved in the decision making of creating your processes and your systems, because they do it every day. They know what's going on, and if you want to improve, you got to ask them. And Disney is known for this. I mean, they bring, we had what were called customer service. We called them attack. It had like the word attack in it for a while, and then we had to mellow it out because somebody thought we were like FBI agents or something. So it was a customer service something team. And we got together like every 6 months, and we just went through any of the hot button issues, any of the issues that guests were reporting. I'll give you a great example. So if you've been to the Magic Kingdom, one of the ways you can get from the parking lot to the Magic Kingdom is through the paddle wheel boats. So everybody gets on the paddle wheel boat, and it takes you across the lake. Well, up until a couple of years ago, the only way to get on the boat was through one level. And then the guests had to go upstairs. The paddle boats are 2 levels. So it took some time. One of the employees said, well, we could make a whole bunch of more trips with the paddle boats if we just loaded both the lower deck and the upper deck at the same time. Duh. I mean, we've been doing this 40 years now, and nobody thought to load both decks at the same time. We had to wait for the employee to tell us. Brilliant. So now they load both the upper deck and the lower deck at the same time. It was an employee's idea. Now the boat makes, I don't know, 6 or 7 more trips a day, which is now a bigger guest satisfier. And yeah, so yeah, taking your employees and really getting them engaged in the business is definitely part of that leadership piece, 100%.
Yeah, because they typically have boots on the ground, so they're seeing firsthand what's going on. Most of the time, the leadership is tasked with this, working on the business, this 50,000-foot aerial view of the business, and sometimes the person who's right there at the gate saying, "Hey, if we just did this," and no, that's amazing. I know that's one of the things I know we lean heavily on in our business as well. Is what are you seeing? What are you feeling? How can we make this more easier for you? Now, we're not going to compromise any of our core objectives to be able to do
Of
this,
course
but
not.
you're going to have somebody who's on the team that's going to have that brilliant idea that you're not thinking about because you're not doing the task each and every day. So I love that you bring that up. And so as
Yep.
we get ready to close, I'm going to give you one final question. As customer expectations continue to evolve, how do you see the future of customer experience changing, and how can businesses stay ahead of it?
Well, the barrier right now, or the point of entry, is very low. I mean, customer experience expectations are very, very low right now. I find it thoroughly amazing that Chick-fil-A and McDonald's hire from the same applicant pool, usually the same local high school, right? How is it that Chick-fil-A can get them to say, please, my pleasure, and thank you, and McDonald's, I don't know if I'm allowed to say McDonald's, but I'm going to anyway, barely gets them to grunt at you? I mean, it seriously. And it's the same applicant pool. So I think that the thing that's going to separate is the company values, the company mission, for lack of a better word, not mission statement, but what's the mission of the company, and have that permeate through all levels of the team, and be able to get that out into the world. I just think that is going to be the accelerator. The experience is going to continually be the separator for all. We're all commodity businesses. I mean, every restaurant's a commodity, every dentist is a commodity. The only thing that is going to be separating commodities is the experience that you guys provide.
No, I love that, Vance. I'm going to tell you this on camera while we're recording. We need to do a part two if you're open to it.
Sure.
I definitely wish we had more time today, because this is, in essence, what I believe my audience needs to hear. Definitely, post COVID world where the applicant pool, the texture of the applicant pool has changed a bit in terms of what our cell phones are doing to our attention span, what how we project and present ourselves in the spaces, and it's becoming increasingly harder to convince young people, or just people in general, the value in the experience. The quiet quitting movement, the wanting to work from home, just there's a certain tonality that exists in the workplace now, that everything that you're speaking to speaks to the core of what builds a business and what builds a profitable business. And so, no, I really appreciate your time today, Vance. Let the people know how they can connect with you. What is social media, website, the whole nine?
Sure. Yeah. Really, only social media I do is LinkedIn, and it's Vance Morris. I think I'm the only one there. And then my website is deliverservicenow.com. All sorts of free goodies there. Actually, the 52 ways to wow without breaking the bank is one of them. I mean, it's one a week. Just pick one a week, and you'll be at the end of the year, you'll be so far ahead of your competitors, you won't know what hit you. So
Again, thank you so much, Vance. And for those of you who are listening, I would encourage you to rewind this and listen again, just in case you missed something, to really clearly hear what Vance has said about customer service and the experience. It doesn't matter if you're in a restaurant, doesn't matter if you're a plumber, doesn't matter if you're a dentist. We all provide experiences. We all are looking to serve people. And when we prioritize the experience that we provide, that value add, it definitely is going to translate into more sales, and more sales creates more opportunity for you to create the impact that you want to create personally and professionally. Again, thank you so much, Vance, and to TPE family, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. And until next time, guys, have a good one.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your friend, Pastor John R. Adolph from the Antioch Church in Beaumont, Texas. And I just want to slip this in right quick so you'll never forget. It's all about progress over perfection here at TPE.
Tap into the Pivot Experience, where we help young, hungry entrepreneurs move on to the next step.